I think we should get going.
Yeah, sure. How many people have we got on the call?
We've got 26 people.
Okay. Yep.
So just under half.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's good to have you all on the call. Thank you very much for your applications and for being available to participate in the second annual GACD Implementation Science School. Obviously, as the name implies, this is the second time we are running this training. So the purpose of this webinar is really to introduce you to the program, to introduce you to one or two of the faculty who will hopefully join. Brian Oldenburg is our lead facilitator, and he'll be talking more to the program. So I'll talk a bit about some of the logistics that we have in place so far, a bit around visas and accommodation, etc. I think it's all important stuff to know. But just to note that these are works in progress, and there are a few logistical issues that we'll need to keep on tweaking as we go along. So please bear with us as we do so. We've been very kindly assisted by the Health Systems Research Institute of Thailand, HSRI, as well as the ASEAN Institute for Health Development, and we look to them largely for their guidance on issues around visas and logistics and so on. So there are a few moving parts, so please just bear with us as we go around organizing this. Okay, so once again, your lines are all muted. If you do at some point have a question or a comment, we'll make time for that towards the end. And during that end session where questions and comments will be welcomed, I would encourage you to use the chat function to let me know if you have a question, and I can then unmute your line, or you can mute your line, whichever way around it'll work. So let's get started then. So as I mentioned before, the idea of this webinar is really to introduce you to the program, to introduce you to the program itself, to some of the faculty, to bring you up to speed on some of the issues around financial support and visas and accommodation. And then Brian will talk through some of the program and some of the things that we need to know and prepare. Brian, feel free to interject if at any point you need to clarify. Or
Yep. Gary, I was just wondering, maybe not everybody is familiar with Zoom and they could be using it for the first time. Do we just need to check, or do you think it's obvious where the chat function is and functionality?
Okay. Right, good point, Brian. So if for those of you who may be new to Zoom, if you go to the bottom of your screen, you will see the option to chat, and I think you click on, so mine's a little different because I'm administrating this, but I think if you click on more, there's 3 dots, and within that you will be able to chat. Also, if you click on participants, you'll be able to find the chat function. But if that's not correct, Brian, and you can see it from your computer as
Yeah, no, your voice is cutting in and out a little bit for me, Gary, but that might just be because I'm a long way from you down under.
Okay. Well, you just stop me if I do drop out, Brian, so that I can repeat myself.
Okay. Sure. Okay, that's good.
So as I said once before, folks, this is our second annual implementation science school. And the first version of this was run last year in Campinas, Brazil, which is a small town in the state of Sao Paulo. And it was hosted by FAPESP, which is the regional funder that is a member of the GACD. For those of you who may not know the GACD is an alliance of national funding agencies, public health funding agencies, and we coordinate funding into chronic non-communicable diseases, specifically the prevention and the management of those diseases. And what happens is that we look to fund this research, we look to support this research once it's been funded, and those researchers... Did I cut out, Brian?
You've gone a bit flaky for me. You might just want to check with someone else if you can, whether can someone else indicate in the chat whether hearing Gary is also a problem for them? Just for me.
Yeah, just let me know in the chat function if someone could. Okay, it seems Kavita says...
Kavita, okay. I'll be quiet then. Might just be me. Okay.
Well,
okay.
Thanks, everyone. That's good to know, because I did suspect there was a problem with me, but that's great. Okay, thanks everyone in the chat.
Okay.
We're an alliance of national health groups, and we coordinate research into the prevention and management of chronic non-communicable diseases. And we have funded 5 programs to date, those being hypertension, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, mental health, and most recently the scale-up of hypertension and diabetes. So once we've funded these projects through the funders who are part of our alliance, they form a network of researchers that are located across the globe. And we seek to support the research that they do in the collaborative research efforts. And we also look to build capacity and implementation science research. And so this is one of the events that we run. So to date, Brian has led, along with the GACD, on 10 trainings. Majority of those have been 2-day workshops. And starting last year, we began an annual 5-day implementation science school that caters more to early and mid-career researchers. And so you are the second class of these. And so congratulations for being selected. So on your screen, you will see a picture of the first school last year in Brazil, where we had 62 participants or attendees. 40 of those were international and 22 of those were local Brazilians. And so we look to not only have a global contingent, but also to have local researchers and build capacity in the local contexts. So a quick reminder and what we would recommend in terms of arriving. I will show you the location of the school. I believe it was sent out to you a couple of days ago, kind of an accommodation pack. But to remind you all, the school starts on Tuesday, the 5th of November at 9 a.m. And we would recommend for those who are not based in Bangkok that you arrive on Monday, the 4th of November. And we will host some kind of informal on Monday evening to introduce ourselves to one another. And so we would recommend you get there on Monday, and we will start promptly at 9 a.m. Tuesday. But I'll send out more communication around the specifics of that closer to the time. Then the school concludes on the afternoon of Saturday, the 9th of November. So we recommend that you ensure that you have your accommodation booked accordingly. And that is how we will do it. So to give you a quick idea of where we are based, we will be at the ASEAN Institute for Health Development, which is part of the Mahidol University campus. And on your screen, you'll see a snapshot of a screen showing the location relative to downtown Bangkok. And as you can see, it's a little bit outside of Bangkok. And so it's just important to bear that in mind, that we won't be in downtown Bangkok for the 5 days. And so you'll need to plan your transport to and from the airport accordingly, or from wherever you might be coming. So a more zoomed in kind of snapshot of that is where we are. Within Mahidol University, of course, we will be in touch with further specifics. So to give you a brief sense of what the weather is like and what to expect, November, this is from a website at the source, unfortunately, but the November is supposedly an enjoyable month in Bangkok. I haven't been before, and it is rather dry, well, certainly after the rainy season, and you can look for temperatures anywhere between these. Here on the screen, it says it's the happiest in London, and I think it'll be pleasant, around 28 degrees centigrade, but do bear in mind that there are likely to be showers quite regularly, so comfortable clothes and a raincoat just in case. But we are going to have a quick look. Again, just a quick snapshot of the temperatures, 28 degrees as I mentioned, high typically in November around 31 degrees. Low, I believe, was 24. Slightly warm, but for the most part. So these are our international faculty, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these faculty members were on the first, were part of the international faculty for the first school in Brazil last year. And our most recent addition is Prof. Jing from the Dukunshan University in China, and we're really excited to have her on board. On your top left is Professor Brian Oldenburg, who is the lead facilitator of this course and this event. And Brian, as I said, has led on 10 other trainings prior to this with the GACD. vastly experienced in implementation research. He's funded on a number of programs through the including hypertension, mental health, diabetes. Dr. Rachel Turk from the Fogarty International Center in the NIH, also really experienced. Prof. Pilviki Absets from Finland, really experienced and well-connected. Dr. Vilma Irazola from Argentina, who's been with the GACD for some time on the hypertension round of funding. Prof. Li Jingyan, once again, who I've mentioned already, who's our newest faculty member, and Dr. Ed Gregg, who is at Imperial College London, but was previously in the Centers for Disease Control in the US for 20-something years. So these faculty really bring a vast amount of experience to the table, and we are really privileged to have them and really fortunate to have access to such an experienced and prestigious group of people. Not only that, they're all wonderful people, all very passionate about implementation science, all very passionate about prevention and management of non-communicable diseases. So I would encourage you to use your time with them as wisely as you can. We also have some Thai and ASEAN and other faculty joining us. A guest presenter, Dr. Bernadette Ramirez. She's from the Special Program for Research and Training in Tropical Diseases at the World Health Organization. She'll be talking during one of our sessions. Then we'll have the following teaching assistants and tutors who will be joining us. I'm not sure if the first three are on this call. I don't think they are, but we've got Singh, who is on the call as well, and is going to be helping as a teaching assistant as well as a participant. And then we've got some more senior possible panelists who will be joining us from National University of Singapore, from the ASEAN, from AIHD at Mahidol, and another Dr. Wachara from Mahidol University as well. Okay, so we have, just to let you know up front, that we had hoped that there would be support available for nationals of ASEAN countries. And unfortunately, we have found out that there's no support available for those who are not Thai nationals. So Thai nationals, HSRI are able to support accommodation, and I'll be in touch directly with you, but you will not need to book. Your accommodation will be handled by HSRI. I'll be in contact directly with you. For those who are not Thai nationals, unfortunately, there won't be financial support available to you at this time. If there is any change in that, we will let you know, but it's not looking likely that there will be support available, I'm afraid. I know we had mentioned that there would be, and it was our understanding as well as our host's understanding that we would be able to, but it's not looking like that will be the case. If that is an issue for you, and you are not able to attend purely for financial reasons, please let me know. I'm not sure what we can do about it, but there's a chance that we may be able to do something. Okay.
Gary, could I just say, Gary, could I just say something?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to say, of course, to actually attend the school, there's no program fee, and your attendance will be covered in terms of lunches and other meals and some of the social events, etc. as well. That's correct, Gary?
Yeah, thanks for raising that, Brian. I think that's an important point. Note that there is no registration fee. There's no cost for the training. It's provided courtesy of our hosts and by the GACD. The only costs that you'll be responsible for are your travel and accommodation. We will provide lunch and teas and coffees. Breakfast and dinners are your responsibility. We will have one dinner on the house, which will be on the opening evening. And the cost, as you'll see, is fairly nominal by international standards. Hopefully by local standards, it's the same. So briefly to talk to visas, this is a bit of a complicated issue in some respects, but I will show you a list of countries shortly. I've shared this information with you via email, but I'd like to share it with you in person once more. That most countries are eligible to enter Thailand as a tourist without a visa. I'll circulate this document once again. You can check Appendix 3 for further information. So our hosts, this is quoting from our hosts, they recommend, and we recommend, that each traveler is responsible for their own visa and use the information in Appendix 3 to decide if you want to apply for a tourist visa or arrive at the airport as a tourist for visa on arrival. This is the simplest route. If you're eligible for a visa exemption on the list of countries that I'll show you in a few slides' time, our hosts believe that is the most straightforward way to go about getting a visa and don't foresee any problems with that. You will have contact details of the hosts on you. But for those who are not on the visa exemption list, you will need to apply for a non-immigrant visa prior to traveling. HSRI will request special assistance from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to facilitate the smooth processing of your visa. However, in order to do that, we require from you really quickly, and we do require a copy of your passport. So I'll share that with you once more. Link where if you definitely need a non-immigrant visa and you don't have any other option, please submit that information by Thursday. So I will go ahead to that now. So on this slide, I've created a link and I'll share the slides with you after this webinar. You'll have access to these links immediately. This is a list of countries with a visa exemption. And as you will see from that, if you are listed in this country, if you're from a country that's listed here, you're eligible for visa exemption in the purple categories. And in these instances, our hosts suggest that you apply for a visa, tourist visa on landing. If you are not in one of the countries that are listed here, and you definitely need to apply for a non-immigrant visa, I've created a link for you to complete where you will need to include your passport details and upload a copy of the face page of your passport. Also, you need to complete a visa application form, the link of which is provided in these slides, and I will circulate to you all at the conclusion of this webinar. So, if you are eligible for a visa on arrival, all you will need is that filled application form, the link of which I've provided you in the previous slide. You'll need a passport valid for 6 months or more, and 2 photographs taken within the last 6 months, and proof that you'll be leaving the Kingdom of Thailand. An example of proof is your air ticket out of there. If you do need to apply for a non-immigrant visa, you will need to submit the visa application form as in the previous instance. You'll need a passport or travel document with more than 6 months validity, and a photograph and evidence of adequate finance, which is 20,000 per person, which is approximately $660. If you're an individual, it's a bit more. Well, it's not a bit more, it's a lot more if you are a family, but I doubt that many will be applying for a family visa. The official certifying the purpose of your travel will be provided by HSRI on completion of that link that I shared on the previous slide. And once again, I've repeated it at the bottom. If you need a non-immigrant visa, complete your passport information via this link by this coming Thursday, please, by the close of the day on Thursday. I will share this with you via email directly for those who are not on the webinar. I will contact them directly as well with this information. Okay, accommodation. Our hosts have arranged with an accommodation apartment block called Time 24, and they are in the process of developing a web page that will allow you to book directly with Time 24. So if you are not a Thai national, you'll need to book directly with Time 24 if you wish to use this accommodation option. It's really well priced, it looks really comfortable, and it is a close walk from the AIHD premises, and there will be a bus going to and from the accommodation, between the accommodation and the venue itself, which is roughly a 10-minute walk. So we'll communicate more specifically around that, but I would encourage those of you who may be considering alternative accommodation that staying with the other attendees is really beneficial for a number of reasons. It really helps build team spirit. It allows you to develop stronger networks and collaborations with those that you're working with. There is quite a bit of group work that goes on after hours, and it's really helpful to be in the same venue and accommodation as your colleagues. It's obviously not mandatory, but we strongly encourage you to use this option. So just to give you a sense of what accommodation is available to you, it will be on a first come, first served basis. We do have 40 rooms available, and there are at present roughly 56 attendees that have confirmed. Between 15 and 20 of those are, well, 10 of those are Thai nationals and are likely going to be staying in Bangkok. So we expect that everyone will be able to book a room for themselves. However, it is on a first come, first served basis, and those who book later may need to share a room with someone else. So to give you a sense of the costs, these are the rooms available. The lowest priced accommodation is 800 baht per person per night, and that is roughly $26 per night, which is very reasonable, we believe. And breakfast is not included, but that can be included for about $3 to $5 per breakfast. And that's a twin bed or a single bed room. Next one up is 1,000 baht per night, roughly $33. Again, the breakfast price remains the same. And the, as you could call it, is roughly $40 per night. And you'll be able to specify your option. All right, so that's it from a logistics and accommodation visas perspective. Just a reminder, I'll be in touch directly with you all via email regarding the booking arrangements and what processes should be followed to book your accommodation. And a reminder, and I will email you specifically, I need non-immigrant visas to come. So I will then, that's all I've got to share. Brian, perhaps I could hand over you to talk through the program.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Gary. Why don't you keep working the slides rather than sharing them with me, if that's okay. Can you hear me okay, Gary?
Hear you fine, Brian.
Okay. So I think hello everybody, and again, congratulations on behalf of GACD and also the faculty. It's we had a lot of people apply for this program, and we selected you as the top candidates for this program. So it's great that you will all be attending in Bangkok in about eight weeks from now. And I also want to really acknowledge the tremendous efforts of Gary and all of his work in really overseeing the organisation of this program in collaboration with the colleagues at the HSRI, the funding agency of Thailand, and the Institute of Health Development at Mahidol University. It's really been a great team effort. For the aims of the program, those have been circulated in the background material. So I won't sort of go through those again, but essentially, you know, we're providing this program to give you an opportunity to learn more about the field of implementation science and have an opportunity to interact and learn from us as faculty, but also most importantly to learn a lot from one another, because one of the fantastic experiences of this program is there are so many of you attending from so many different countries, cultures and backgrounds, and I'm not sure how many countries, Gary, but I guess maybe 20 or so, something like that, from every region of the world. So I can promise you this is going to be a very exciting experience for us. Because we have people attending the program from very different backgrounds and probably different levels of research training. A number of you already have doctoral training, some of you are pre-doctoral training, some of you have master's degrees and so on. So you are entering the program at different levels, but we're pretty confident that you are all going to get a lot out of this program. But of course, like any adult learning program, what you get out of the program is going to be determined to a large degree by how much you put into the program, and I'm going to come back and say a little bit more about what we expect you to do over the next 8 weeks, because we do have some requests of you and work that we want you to complete over the next 8 weeks, which I think will then ensure that you can enter the program at a higher level and then get even more out of the 1 week program. Gary, can we go to the next slide? We're just finalising the program at the moment, so this is take this as a good draft, and it will be finalised over the next couple of weeks, and the final program will be circulated to you. But essentially, day one we'll be talking about implementation science and some of the background learnings, and helping you to really fine-tune your question in terms of understanding what a good implementation science question is. Day two is going to focus a lot on study design and measurement, and the way in which the days are typically structured. The mornings will be more the lectures and the forum discussions and so on, and the afternoons will be more breakout groups and you working in smaller groups with one another. And you will be assigned to a group mainly for the week, and you'll work with that group during the week, and then you'll be doing a presentation as a group on the final day. Go to the Thursday, Gary. The Thursday, yeah, we'll be talking more about theory and how to design interventions and think about their delivery. And on the Friday, the second last day, talking more about context and translation into policy and practice. And you might notice on the afternoon of the Friday, and I think Gary will probably still schedule it there, we have a panel roundtable which will have local policy makers and program implementers involved in a roundtable. So you'll have an opportunity to really interact with the experts on that roundtable, and to really learn and think more about how you take your research findings and translate those into policy and practice in the future. And final day, Gary. And then the final day will be mainly made up of the presentations from your groups. So closer to the time that the school begins, we'll let you know more about what's going to happen in those group sessions. Gary, I think, mentioned earlier on in his presentation that for the group tasks, you'll probably also be required to be working on those tasks outside normal hours as well. So that was one of the reasons why we would really encourage you all to stay at the same accommodation rather than being spread around too much. Gary, the next slide. So there's a school website that Gary has already set up, and actually I'm involved in directing a WHO collaborating centre focused on implementation science and NCDs, and we're just building that website as well at the moment. So we'll also make that available. So between these two websites, we'll be placing a lot of the resources and materials for the program and background readings there, so you can access those. I would refer you to this monograph called The Guide to Implementation Research in the Prevention and Control of NCDs, which is a monograph that my team prepared for WHO a couple of years ago on implementation science. And you can think of this as a background textbook for the course, and we'd really encourage you to access that. It's freely available through the through this link, or you can just download it from WHO. So we will circulate some more readings between now and the school, and are you able to? Oh yeah, and then we also want you to work more on your proposal that you submitted for as part of your application for the school, and in the next week or so we will give you some more guidance on how to work further on your proposal and fine-tune that ahead of the school. So essentially you're going to have the opportunity to continue working on your proposal between now and the school, and by the end of the school you'll be able to really use that proposal to guide more of your future research efforts, and potentially also a grant application and so on as well. The next slide, Gary. Okay, so just before we come to questions, I think we have a couple of other faculty on the line. Rachel, are you there? Rachel Turk from Fogarty. Did you want to maybe just introduce yourself and maybe give a little bit of a testimonial about the research school last year, and what you would consider to be the sort of aspirations of a school like this, given your vast experience in NIH?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, really well.
Okay, great. So thanks. And my name is Rachel Turk, and I am I'm a deputy director and a senior scientist at a tiny little center at the U.S. National Institutes of Health at the Fogarty International Center. And I lead several projects that focus on implementation science, as well as do a fair amount of networking within NIH to elevate the science of implementation science, really, and to sort of catalyze our funding around implementation science. This school last year I thought was a great group of people. I think it was an opportunity for internal researchers to get their feet wet in implementation science. So I think this is a rare opportunity, and I'm just really looking forward to working with you all. Come from a lot of different areas across the world, which I think is great way for you all to find mentors, and even within each other, collaborate otherwise.
Whoops.
Rachel, are you there? I think we've lost you.
Right. I don't know if it sounds working.
Yeah, Rachel, we
I'm
might
here.
have just
Oh,
we might have just
sorry.
lost the last 10 or 15 seconds, I think. Yeah, when I think maybe you were just summing up, perhaps.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it just drops in and out a bit. So maybe if you just wanted to repeat what you said at the end there.
Oh, I think I was wrapping up just to say I'm really looking forward to the school, and think it's a great opportunity.
Okay, thanks.
Over to you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks. Li Jing, are you there at the moment as well? Did you want to just similarly say a few words of greetings and your interest and passion to be involved in the school?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good to start with.
Good. I'm Li Jingyan, and as Gary and Brian said, I work at Duke Kunshan University, and this is located in Kunshan, China. I have been working in the field of cardiovascular disease prevention and management for a while, and implementation science being one of the newer methodology that we can use to handle quite a few practical and scientific issues. I think that there's a lot for me to continue learning, and I look forward to share this time with you all. And last year, I had wanted to go to Brazil as well, but I couldn't make it because I'm teaching group courses, and it's pretty far to travel. So I look forward to it, and I can see from the background material that you all have some experience and are very passionate about learning. So it's going to be a good time.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Li Jing. Thank you, and yeah, thanks again for being involved. Gary, how about we move to questions now?
No problem, Brian. So a few questions have come through on the chat. So perhaps I'll address some of those. And then if you do have more questions, you can either raise your hand or send them through on the chat. So let's see what we have here. Okay, someone had asked about traveling on a tourist visa. If they traveled on a tourist visa previously, can they do the same this time too? You'll need to just verify that and make sure that you are eligible for another tourist visa. My understanding is that you're only eligible for 2 tourist visas during a 12-month period or something to that effect. But please do the due diligence to make sure that you are eligible once again for a 2nd or 3rd tourist visa, depending on which it might be. Someone asked, thanks for the logistic guide. For the Time 24 residents, is the booking through email and bank transfer, or is there a website? So the booking with Time 24 will be made through the website, and I believe that you will need to make a bank transfer, but that will remain to be seen once we receive the link from our hosts at HSRI. So once again, all booking will be done through the website, not via email, but it's likely that you will need to book and make a bank transfer. Looking through for more questions here. Okay, I think that's it. Then Oluwatoni. Sorry, Brian.
Gary, I was just going to say, is there anyone on the Zoom call from Bangkok or Thailand?
I'm not sure, Brian.
Or if there is, could you put your hand up?
Yeah.
Or just send a chat?
Yeah, if anyone here is from Bangkok.
Oh, I see someone. Would you like to tell us anything about Bangkok that would be informative for us? If you don't want to, Gary could either unmute you, or you could, if you wanted to just type some comments in the chat, that would also be okay. Would you like to say something?
Well,
No, okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, very
We
well.
hear you.
Okay, I'm from Bangkok, and my name is Angsumali Phonpak. I'm from Health System Research Institute, and I would like to tell you that the place set for training is quite far from the airport, so you have to prepare for the logistic transition from the airport. I think it will take around 1 hour or more from the airport to the Mahidol University. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, because it's quite far.
From and that's
from the
to the
Suvarnabhumi airport to the
Salalaya, to the campus campus.
Yeah. It's quite far.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
more than 1 hour. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And is there any other very important information you would like to tell us about Bangkok, or to welcome us to Thailand?
Yeah, I would like to welcome all of you to Bangkok, because in the Bangkok you can have many places for visiting. And also good food and good good place for traveling around. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice. We thank you for your welcome.
Just a private message. Someone asking if you plan to stay longer than 30 days, because that is the duration of the tourist visa for those eligible. Is it a good idea to apply for a tourist visa or better for a non-immigrant visa? I would suggest that you check that with the website. I believe there are some guidelines around that. My understanding is rudimentary, but I do understand that if you plan on staying for longer than 30 days, you need to leave the country and return into the country once more, and not via overground, but you'll need to check the specifics of that. I can't actually comment much on that, I'm afraid. Rashmi, the location of the training at Bangkok is at the Asian Institute for Health Development. I will share that in the slides. The specific location is shared there with the address, etc. And we will share it with you. And thanks to Somali, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, who had given us some information that the location itself is quite far from the airport that most will be arriving at. It's around an hour. So please make sure that you check what kind of transport arrangements need to be made to get from the airport to the venue on time.
And the important point to note, Gary, is this is not the main campus of Mahidol University. So if I'm not mistaken, the main campus of Mahidol University is more in the downtown. This is more a regional campus on the further out from the downtown area, but it's a very lovely campus, and I think will be great for the learning opportunities. And obviously there'll be possibilities for people to go into Bangkok, after hours and so on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there is. Okay, so Rashmi says, I am acquainted with Salaya. I think there is transport from Salaya, isn't there, into Bangkok on the public transport, I think?
Yeah, there is, Brian. There is public transport available, yeah. Third means of transport to the campus, HSRR will provide a bus that will go between the Time 24 residence and the campus itself. However, it is roughly 10 minutes walk for those who might prefer to walk.
I thought that question from Tillahan might be about means of transport from the airport to the campus.
Tillahan, I'm not sure.
And that I don't know, but I'm sure we can get information unless anyone on this call. Rashmi, do you know that? Taxi. Okay.
Well, we'll share more comprehensive information on best transport options to and from the airport, between the airport and the campus. But so do your own due diligence on what options would suit you best. All right, I'm just scanning. If anyone else has got questions, please feel free to put them through in the chat. All right, nothing coming through yet. So we'll give another minute or two, maybe.
Kavita, just while we're waiting, because you're also helping out the faculty and working as an assistant, did you want to just say something briefly about your background and your interest in this school?
Kavita, just to let you know, I'm trying to unmute you, but it's not. Oh, there we go.
Sure.
You've unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Brian. So I'm trained in epidemiology and currently working as a research scientist at the Public Health Foundation of India. My interests are in economic evaluation and recently developed more interest in implementation science, because in the last few years I've been involved in projects where we are testing proven interventions and trying to translate those into real world situations using implementation science methods. So more passionate about this field and looking forward to learn from other colleagues, faculty, and working on the research proposal during the workshop.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, Kavita, and thank you for your help and assistance.
A question from Satish. Room bookings can be made for a couple of days before the workshop. I don't see why not, Satish. I can't guarantee that, but we'll learn more once we hear from HSRI and they share the website with us. But as I said, it will be subject to availability. We expect that there will be plenty of rooms. But as I said, the later you book, the greater the chance of potentially sharing with someone might be. Gabriele asking if there's anyone else from Brazil. I'll have a look and share with you shortly. You cannot hear. So Rashmi asking, can we change the proposal? Stick with the one submitted. Brian,
Yeah.
comment on that?
Yeah. I think that will be okay. And yeah, just wait for the instructions that we'll send to you in the next week or so about that. Yeah. And we'll probably send you a revised template for that.
Great. While we wait for a couple more questions, if there are, I'm just having a look to see if I can tell Gabriele if there are any others from Brazil. Let's see.
What other countries have we got on the call? Do you just quickly type in your country in the chat? Nepal, Canada, India, Kenya, Ghana, even Australia, Nigeria, Nepal, Myanmar, Belgium. Another one from Australia. Yeah.
In response to Gabriele, we've got 3 other Brazilians. So there'll be 4 Brazilians.
USA, based in Kenya, Vietnam, Brazil, Bangladesh. We're doing well, Gary. Have we covered all continents? Yeah.
Good spread, I'm pretty sure.
Montenegro.
Twin shed accommodation. Kavita, yes, that is possible. Something we were trying to avoid, but I'm glad you asked that. We'll find out how to do that, because that's certainly an option. We'll let you know exactly how to proceed with that. But I do not know.
If you wanted, if that would be your preference, the easiest could be if you could identify a buddy, but we realise you may not be aware of candidate buddies. So Gary will have to come up with a solution for that.
Yeah. Just so you know, folks, the price per room is independent of whether you share or not. So it's price per person. It doesn't reduce the cost to share, just an FYI. But if you do want to share, we will see what we can do to make that happen. If you do want to let me know via email that you want to share, that might be helpful. Presume that you'd be in the minority, but that's fine. If you have a preference for sharing, let me know and I'll compile a small list and we can see what we can do to accommodate you. All right, I don't see any more questions. Perhaps a last chance.
I think we're done, Gary.
Yep. All right, everyone. Okay, so that's great. We had 33 people on the call. So if you take into account that it was me, Brian, Rachel, and Jing from the kind of organizing and faculty, that's just over half, actually. So we're pleased with that. Thanks for taking the time to be part of this. We will be in communication with you all for more specific details. Please don't panic if you are unsure of anything. We are here to assist. Just stay in contact with us. Brian, anything from your end before we close?
No, I think this is fantastic, Gary. And once again, thank you all for being involved in the school. And I'm sure you're going to have a great time.
Yep. Excellent. Okay, everyone. Once again, please feel free to stay in contact, and we look forward to meeting you all very soon.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. And I will share the slides just as a reminder. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.